Now I'd like to show you a basic tour of Premiere and some basic editing you'll have. Here's your project folder. In this case, we have two video clips in here. If I double click any of these clips, it will load that raw clip up into the source window here, and you can see the name is reflected up here. We have this kind of playback head, this current time indicator, and some controls here. So we have a simple play button right here, and you can see there's, in parentheses, we have the keyboard shortcut. Working in Premiere, there's some great keyboard shortcuts. So if you just simply tap your space bar, it'll give you the same effect as pressing that, and it'll kind of play and pause. In order to select only a small portion of this video, you could simply move your playhead where you want the clip to start. In this case, right after I see this little leg on the left side leave. And I'm going to click this button right here, which is the mark in. Notice it's I, the keyboard shortcut. And when I click this button, everything after it is highlighted in gray. That means now only that is selected. I can continue working with this. I can just play this here. And I'm going to stop when this gets to right here. And I'm going to click out, and now only this small portion is selected. In order to bring this down into my project, my project lives here in the timeline. So when I click and drag this video clip down into here and I release, what it does, it creates a new sequence. And this is a sequence, and you can see right here is the small portion that I selected, and it's 6 seconds and 18 frames. You'll now notice it's reflected over here because your sequence and your program window right here are one and the same thing. So if I press play here, you'll see the playhead here and here moving at the same time. I'm going to come over here into my project window. I'm going to select a small portion of this clip. Maybe I'll just, maybe this motion right here. So I'm going to click in and then out. And then I could click and drag this down into the timeline. Now notice as I get close to this other clip, it snaps right into place. That's very convenient, so you don't have any gaps there. And now when I play this, you'll see that it transitions from one to other with a simple cut. So I'm going to hit play up here, and cut, and there we go. Now what if I wanted to take this clip right here and put it at the beginning of my project in front of this clip right here? If I click and drag, you'll notice if I drag this down here, it's not going to push everything forward. I don't want to overwrite this first clip here, which is if I just simply drop this right now, I'm going to drop that, and you'll see that I've overwritten that, right? So my project didn't get any longer. I'm going to undo that by hitting Command Z. But if I wanted to kind of push everything else in front of it, I'm just simply hold down the Command key, which is right next to the space bar, and it has those arrows. That means it's going to push everything down, and you'll see that now my project gets longer. So here, I now have that clip of the outside, and then it cuts to the inside shot walking down the hallway. So when you hold down the Command key, that's what's called an insert edit, and it pushes everything down. You could think of it like putting your cursor in the middle of a sentence in Word and then hitting paste, where it's going to push everything down. So I have a couple of clips down here in my timeline, and it's pretty rough. That's not exactly what I want, so I want to show you how to kind of fine-tune your edits within the timeline. First thing is I only have these two clips, but they're pretty small. So what I'm going to do is to zoom in and out of the timeline, just make sure it's active with that blue line around it, and then just use the plus or minus key on the keyboard to zoom in or out. That helps out a lot. So if we take a look at this last clip right here, so we can see this moving here. If I wanted to change that, say it kind of cuts out too early here, and I know that in the original footage over here there's a lot more, what I could do is simply with this selection tool, my basic selection tool, which allows me to select things right here. If I just come over the edge of this edit right here, I can click and start dragging. And now notice in the program window above me here, it shows me this out point, this very last frame. So I could now move this over, and I could kind of have that linger a little bit longer. And now my clip has gotten longer, and I even have information right here. So now the duration is, 3 seconds and 10 frames. When I release, and that's just fine. So now you can see it lingers there a little bit longer. The same thing on this side right here. If I click over here, notice the arrows pointing towards this clip, I could change to the first frame or the end point of this particular clip. So I'm going to drag here, and now up in the program window, it shows you not only the clip that I'm moving here, this outside clip, but it shows me the previous clip as well, so I can kind of have an idea. This is really useful for editing. So I'm going to just kind of, maybe I'll do this so I don't have where it goes to become a static shot right here, roughly. But it leaves this big gap here, so obviously we don't want that. Just like selecting a clip, you can select nothing. You can select the clip between there and hit delete. And now that pulls that forward. And now I have that shot starting where it starts to essentially go still on that longer outdoor clip. There is a special tool right over here called the ripple tool, which is one of my favorites. If you click on this, instead of doing this multiple process with just the selection tool where you click and drag and then it leaves the blank space, with this tool, everything kind of sticks to it. So if I want to change this particular clip, which is this indoor clip, the out point here, I click and I drag, and now you can see the same thing is happening. So I'm changing the out point above me there in the program window. But now when I release, you'll notice that everything kind of sticks with it. So that's really nice, where you can kind of very easily adjust the in and out points of clips in the timeline to kind of fine-tune your edits.